In this episode, we're going to talk about something that I think a lot of detailers are going to find boring, but it's super important to do in your business because it can unlock a lot of business insights into what you can do in order to grow your business. And we're going to talk about sending out quotes, looking at the total value of those quotes, your close ratio, your average ticket price, and how you can use all these things to unlock growth in your business. And throughout this episode, I do reference Jobber because that is the main CRM that I've been using in my business for the last 6 years. So if you also want to give Jobber a try in your business, you can click the link down below to try it out. So again, that we've been using it now for close to 6 years now, and we use it for basically everything. I mean, we use we have like a handful of tools that we use, but Jobber is at the core of what we do. We use it to track customers' information. I used it when I was mobile. I used it when we were at the shop. I'm using it now that we're at the shop. We use it to send out quotes, get quotes approved, get the deposits paid on those quotes. We send out invoices, we text, we email. We do just about everything through Jobber. So if you want to try that in your business, click the link down below and give it a try. Over the last year, I've really been talking about improving your sales process. And in that process, one KPI that you can look at is sending out quotes and tracking your close ratio or your win ratio or whatever you want to call it. And the reason why that's so important is because this gives you really good insight into your business of how your business is actually performing. Yes, of course, we want to look at how much revenue did we make, how many jobs did we do for the month, right? Tracking budgeted hours. But in this specific scenario, there's two things that we try to do in our business. Sometimes that hit or miss, but two things that we try to do is we try to get call it like a 90% lead to quote ratio, meaning let's say we get 100 leads in a month, right? At 90%, we want to send 90 quotes out. So we have, if 100 leads come in, we're going to send 90 quotes out. Whether we spoke to them for a minute, whether we never made contact with them, we are going to send them out a quote. And then the second one is going to be what's your quote to close ratio or quote to customer? Meaning of those 90, how many did you actually book in, right? So if you have, where am I at here? If you have let's say a 40% close ratio, right? That means of those 90, 36 of those become a paying customer. So those are the two things that I look at in terms of things that you can do to better improve, to get more insight into your business. And the reason why this is important is, let's say, another benefit to sending out quotes 90% of the time, right? And I like you really want to stay true to like 90 to 95%, because if you're sending it out, like if you only send out a quote to individuals who seem interested, like who are likely to book with you, your close ratio, your win ratio, it will artificially look a lot higher. Because if you only send it to those that have a likelihood of saying yes, it's naturally going to lean on the higher side of 40, of 50, of 60, of 70% close ratio. So let's say you have, let's say you send out 20 quotes, right? But you're only sending out those 20 to people that are very likely to book with you. Then let's say you can have a 60% close ratio, right? And you can book 12 of those in, right? Now, let's say realistically, you should be sending out 50, let's say, right? Because you're only selecting the 20 that like they seem like they're gonna book. But let's say realistically, of all the leads that you get in, let's say 90% of those, you send a quote out, which is, let's say for this example, it's 50 people, right? 50 prospects, 50 potential customers. Well, now that you have a better sense of how many customers you're actually able to book in, instead of having what I call a 60% close ratio, you're actually closer to a 25% close ratio. Right? Because on 20 customers at a 60% close ratio, you have 12 customers. But now if you're sending 50 quotes out, then at a 25% close ratio, you have like 12 customers that you're converting as a paying customer. Again, this is super important because now you're getting a true sense of, oh man, like we're getting a lot of leads and like we're only closing at 25%. Like if you can get those 50 leads, if you can get those 50 quotes to close at 40%, well, now you're making a lot more money and growing your business a lot more because your close ratio is higher, or you're sending out more quotes. And even though your close ratio isn't as high as it was before, because you're actually sending out more quotes and tracking this number, you have a better idea of what your business is actually doing. The second point is that it really helps to see. So like for instance, this should be applicable to, I want to say most CRMs, okay? On the quotes that we send out in Jobber, it quickly tells us how much revenue we've sent out. So let's say we've sent out, 30 quotes and I'm making up a number here. Let's say we sent out 20 quotes and the average ticket price is $500. So we've sent out $15,000 worth of quotes. So now this gives us another indication of like, okay, if last month we sent out 30 quotes and the total revenue of that is $15,000 and we only booked in, I'm making up numbers here, and we only booked in $6,000 worth of work, where is the remaining $7,000 going to? And why are we not capturing that? And if any of this sounds confusing, then I have more in-depth training for you to follow inside of my online training program called Detailers Growth Academy. I go way more in-depth on every part of the sales process and knowing your numbers, because I find this is where a lot of detailers simply struggle and have no idea where to start. So inside of Detailers Growth Academy, I have an entire module on how to figure out your numbers. Right. And it sounds pretty easy if you're just one person, but if you want to make sure you're profitable as you grow with a team, and even if you're just by yourself, you should know your numbers to understand what you need to make in order to pay yourself what you want, to be profitable, to grow with a team and buying vans. Like this is super important in your business. So if you want access to that, it'll also be linked down below and you'll find all of that inside of Detailers Growth Academy. Now, as your business grows, and you get better at marketing, you spend more on ads, you get better at social media, you optimize your website more, and you get more and more leads. Well, now per month, you could be sending out $30,000 worth of quote, $65,000 worth of quotes, $125,000 worth of quotes, right? And this gives you a much more clear and precise look into your numbers to say, last month we sent out $87,000 worth of quotes. However many that might be people. Let's say if you send $80,000 worth of quotes, I'm doing the quick math here, and let's say your average ticket price is, I don't know, pick a number, 400. So that means you sent out 200 quotes last month. And the total value of those quotes were $80,000. And let's say you made $10,000, right? So in your head, you're like, oh, cool, we made $10,000. But if you look at all the quotes and you look at your close ratio, and you look at the total value of revenue that you sent out in quotes versus revenue that you won, you can look at the number and say, man, like how are we sending $80,000 worth of work out and we're only winning 10,000 of that? Now you're able to see, okay, like, hey, our follow-up process or our whole sales process has to be better. Like we have to get to the lead a lot faster. We have to follow up on that person a lot better. We have to follow up twice in one day, twice the next day, once in 3 days. We have to send an email and a text and a phone call. Like we have to get better at it, because if we're sending out, again, make up any number. You're sending out $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 a month in quotes, in total value of the revenue. Well, then there's some glaring issues of why you're not able to convert that into like customers into your business. Right? Because it's very easy. It's super easy to run your business thinking, and not that you're doing bad, but like, you want to continually optimize your business and you want to optimize it for revenue and profits. And if you don't get these insights into your business, it's like the perfect example of set it and forget it. And in this case, you don't set it and forget it. Meaning you never you never use your CRM to send out quotes, and you don't send out quotes, and you don't look at the total value that's being sent, and you're not comparing that versus the revenue that you're getting. So it's out of sight, out of mind. Like you're not putting any thought to it. So you just go along with your business, what have you, and you keep on doing the same thing over and over. But in order to grow your business, like you have to optimize it in different manners. Yes, one way to grow your business is to get more leads. Of course it is, 100%. I want to say 99% of us across all detailers, really all businesses, but all detailers are leaving a lot of money on the table by not optimizing what they already have. So yes, we can spend more money on ads. We can post more on social media. We can optimize our website better, right? We can even raise our prices, and that's going to help with making more money. But when we have more objective data of our business, and we get to actually see, man, like imagine if we were able to convert 10% more of that 60,000 that we sent out, right? That changes your business altogether. But because we don't send out the quotes, we're not looking at our close ratio. We don't know what our average ticket price is. We don't know all these numbers. We just think, oh man, well, we're just, I'm just running along and doing whatever. And you're not able to see systematically. You're not able to look at your puzzle of a business, right? Let's say it's a puzzle, right? Because there's so many pieces that have to move along. You can't look at all the puzzle pieces and say, I need to make sure this is improved, or this area is improved, or I need to get better at this, or I need to get this number up, or I need to get this number higher, I need to get this number lower. You're not able to look at it in any way other than saying we made 8,000 last month. When in reality, you could have probably made 14,000. And if you look at it because there's two ways of making money, right? Not two ways, but there's two methods that'll happen. There's gonna be short term, and I don't mean short term in the bad sense of like thinking short term or like or you want something to happen quick. I mean short term in the sense of like there are customers, or I should say there are people, right? Potential customers, leads. There are gonna be people that are ready to purchase now, right? Whether it's today or tomorrow or within the next 3-4 days, like they're ready to purchase now. Right? So that's revenue that you're going to collect now. Then there's another set of customers, a bigger set of people, right? Who are going to purchase 7 days from now, 14 days from now, a month from now, 3 months from now. So if you generate a customer right now, or let's say you generate a lead right now, you send a quote out right now, whether it's $200 or $1,500 of a quote. Over the next 3 months, more and more of those quotes that you send out will be converted because now they have the budget for it. They're waiting for nice weather. They're waiting to purchase their new vehicle. They were, just time wasn't the right time and they were waiting. They just wanted to wait because, holidays and all this other stuff. And they book a month and a half later. So not only are you missing out on revenue that you could be converting right now of now customers who are ready to purchase, but you're also not giving yourself a chance to win more customers in the future who are interested in your services right now. So you're losing money in both ways. You're losing money, like let's say you made 8,000, you could have actually made 12,000. And over the next 3 months, based on the leads that you're generating right now, you can make an additional 10,000, but you're only going to make an additional 3,000 because you're not following up, because you don't know who's doing what, because you don't know, like you're not tracking any of these numbers. And I know it sounds like overkill. I know this is not something that a lot of detailers talk about or do or say or show or implement. But if you want to grow a business beyond yourself, if you want to actually have actual insight into your business to understand what's going on with the numbers, to be able to look at what you're doing and say, okay, like I'm seeing all these numbers, I'm plugging in what I want, and we're lacking in this area. Most detailers can't do that. Why? Well, it does take time to set it up, and not really though. I think most CRMs like automatically do this for you. So it's not even the excuse of like setting it up isn't even an excuse anymore. Granted, if you want to use this in your CRM, again, whether you're using Jobber like I have, whether it's Urable, whether it's Shop Monkey, whether it's House Call Pro, you do have to set it up in terms of like like for Jobber, I know, and House Call Pro, like they have their own payment processor, right? So you're gonna have to get away from Square. I don't know if Urable has their own payment processing, but regardless, you're gonna have to get away from the free version of Square and go to a separate platform, right? If that, I'm not sure all the features that Square has now, but anyways, yeah. So you have to set up all your services on your CRM, whatever CRM that you're using, right? You have to set your services. You have to actually use and accept card in your business. Don't use cash. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can use cash. 100% you can. But then you have to have the discipline, the fiscal discipline to say, I'm still like when we get paid cash, we take the cash, we go into Jobber, we put separate or different payment option. We'll select cash and we'll close the job out, and then we go deposit that cash into our bank account, right? Because we want to track our numbers properly and we want to have an actual true idea of what we're doing over the year. So we don't pocket the cash. We're gonna go. We still track it in Jobber, and we still go deposit it into the bank account. So we can have the correct accounting for the month. Same thing with a check. So I mean, I think the last, I don't know how long. I mean, we rarely get paid with checks. But when someone pays with check, we're gonna also submit that too. We're gonna obviously submit it, but we're gonna mark it off as paid with check inside a Jobber, and then we're gonna go scan it and add it to our bank, right? Deposit it to our bank. So yes, like it's not like it takes much work to like track your close ratio or the revenue sent out in quotes, because like the CRM does that for you. But yes, like you do have to set this. You do have to set up the CRM in the first place, right? And that's actually using it, right? So like, and don't get me wrong, sending out quotes can be not daunting, but it can definitely take up time. Because it does take up time, right? Like when someone, if you have 4 leads that came into your business today, you're going to talk to each one. Maybe you don't, but you're going to create a quote and send it out to each person. Now, depending on the platform that you're using, that could probably take longer than you want. Because if you get a DM on Instagram and they're asking you about your services, well, that should be a quote. So you need to ask them for their first name, last name, and at least the email address or their phone number, preferably their phone number. And you text them a quote through, and you text them a quote, meaning like in Jobber, we can either send a quote through email or send a quote through text, or both if you want. But 99.5% of the time, we send out a quote via text. That would be a quote you send out, but then you have to ask for their name, you have to ask for their phone number, and you have to go into the platform, whatever platform you use, and create it and send it off. Now, it is a lot more cumbersome if you're doing all of this on the mobile phone, right? Like if you're doing everything on your phone, that will take a lot longer. That will be a lot more steps because you're just using 2 fingers to do everything, right? Nonetheless, though, you have to get their information from the DMs. And then import or manually add it to your CRM account. You have to create a new client, create a quote, and then send it off. And depending on which CRM that you use, sometimes, like again, in Jobber, it gives it to you super easy, where it says, hey, here's your close ratio, here's the total value of the quote sent in this time frame by this salesperson. It gives you all that. Now, I think in Square, it doesn't give you that, if I'm not mistaken, because I was speaking with another detailer who uses Square, and they wanted to see how to find their close ratio, and they just have to manually look at total sent versus what was won, and then they have to divide themselves, which isn't a lot of work. But again, each platform is going to be different in terms of how they show this information to you. But sending out quotes, it is a lot. It is a lot of work, right? Especially if you're out in the field doing, if you're mobile, if you're at the shop and you're super busy, if like there's a lot of reasons why to say, oh man, it takes so much time to send out a quote. Like, don't get me wrong, it for sure does, but that doesn't negate the fact that that's crucial information that you want in your business, and that's super important information for you to look at month after month as you grow your business. Because let's say you are very busy, you're booked out, you're going all over the place. That's even more of a reason of why to do this, because you are going to see why you're missing so much potential, or why things aren't where they want it to be. Because they probably can, and it probably is just the way you're looking at things, or the lack of, right? The lack thereof of how you're actually looking at your business, that you're not actually able to see these things, right? All you're saying is like, oh, I need more leads to make more money. I need more leads to make more revenue. And again, that is true, right? There is an angle, there is a method, there is a way of like, that is true. But if you're not optimizing any of your parts of your system, and you're simply saying, get more customers, I need more leads. I get more to make more money, I need more leads. To make more money, I need more leads. If it's that fashion, then you're looking at it in a very black and white manner, which again, like that is true. Like if you can get more leads, you get more customers and you make more money. So and if you want to keep on doing that, fantastic. But then on top of that, if you also stack that with saying, hey, okay, look, I'm looking at my quotes, I'm looking at my close ratio, I'm looking at what we're winning, where can I improve on here? It only helps your business out even more. Like if you're saying like, oh man, I would really like to add an additional, make up a number, $5,000 a month or $15,000 a month in revenue. Okay, well, that's exactly what you need to do. Like the work is in the numbers and looking at your system and looking at the numbers objectively to say, okay, well, how do I get this 15,000 or how do I get this extra 5,000? Like that is how you grow your revenue. And again, if you want to go out and spend more money or post more on social media or do whatever to get more leads and customers, fantastic. Like that is and will always be a way to grow your business. But on top of that, in order to maximize and capitalize all the potential that you can from that set customers and leads, well, you have to implement these things. So yeah, hopefully I don't sound like a broken record, but like just too many times, I kid you not, like maybe 99% of detailers don't do this because it's not flashy. It's all on the back end. Like this isn't learning how to detail or doing something cool like, oh, let's talk about marketing and posting and creating a website. Like this is just simply managing the back end system, the numbers of your business to say like, setting like, hey, depending on whatever CRM that you're using, hey, where do I find my close ratio? How do I track what's my average ticket price? Looking at your average ticket price during certain times of the year when you introduce a new service or when you increase your prices, like this is where you find like that extra growth in your business that you want. And yeah, it takes legwork. Like to me, I like this part. Like I like that part of the business. But to many others, right? Again, like you started a detailing business because you wanted to detail. You wanted to polish a car and remove swirls or cleaning an interior. You didn't sign up to say, or I should say, you didn't think that you would be talking about, oh, well, how do I look at these numbers and how do I add this and how do I divide that and what's this number? Like, yes, I get it. Like, you started a detailing business because you want to detail. Totally understand that. But again, depending on where you want to go with your business or what you want to do or how you want to run it, like these are things that you have to do regardless of how you feel about it. Even if you want to, hire an admin person and they run that for you, well, you need to give them the systems and the playbook for them to follow. Because you're the one that it's your business. Like you have to be able to understand all these numbers because no one else you hire is going to be able to understand all of this if you don't know what to look at. So yes, I get it. It can be boring. It could be mundane. It could be something you don't want to do. But like this is why it's so important to like so many detailers won't do this because like, oh, well, I don't want to do this and I'm just going to I'm going to go polish paint. It's too easy to do that. So hopefully that doesn't sound like a broken record. Hopefully you take something away. I mean, the takeaway should be send out quotes through your CRM. Look at the total value of the revenue you're sending out in quotes to look at your close ratio. And then, hey, I'm sending out 60,000. We only made 12,000. Where's the other 48,000 going? Right? Super important to use in your business. So I'll end it right there and I'll talk to everyone on the next one.